real payout is Crux of Fate. And Sidisi and that skeleton does not play that well alongside Crux of Fate.
Also, the correct way to pronounce it. There's a swamp from Jason. Got a Courser, a Whip, Elvish Mystic in play.
Also appears to be on the Joe Lissette school of revised basics.
He's getting his hands on everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Andrew Purdy to come to the stage, please. Andrew Purdy.
It's tough to watch.
It is, you know, we can talk about the ethical responsibilities we have in promoting particular players and the consequences of that. And I think it's worth having the conversation, is Joe's affinity for revised basic lands, is that causing more harm than good? It's a conversation we should certainly have.
It's really close, I think.
It's really close.
Here's a Whip of Erebos activation. Tasker is going to come on back. Into the red zone, some creatures are going to go. We'll see how Solache wants to address this situation. He does have a Ashiok in play, but it looks like Ashiok's going to be leaving play. So there that goes, along with the creatures that it did exile. Those will no longer play a factor in this game. Ashiok did some real work here, but Solache did win game number 1 blue-black control. This one looking a little bit more difficult. Though it does have Pearl Ancient, Crux of Fate, and Dig Through Time in hand. So enjoying this game in progress, trying to figure out exactly who's winning it. It's difficult to say, but it looks like it might be favoring Solache, given he's got 3 very powerful cards in hand.
But this is a deck that does not handle Whip of Erebos in play very well.
Yeah. Very quickly playing Island, passing the turn back is Solache. We're going to head back Jason Miller's way. We know Doomwake Giant is the draw, next to Courser of Crewfix. Let's take a look at the next card. It's a copy of Maya Coast.
And Solache with a lot of life to work with here.
Oh, yeah. It seems like this game was just a battle about Ashiok to begin.
And Sultai Reanimator is the type of deck where in these kind of matchups, it can get decked. The library can absolutely run out.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
There's 5 mana. There's a Doomwake. There's the Maya Coast. Trigger a little life gain. Land more waste on top of the deck. Now here's an attack. A Doomwake, you're gonna have to hold, but the rest can't. Solache very quickly gonna take the damage. Here's Dig Through Time. You mentioned it's very difficult for blue-black control to be able to get Whip off the table. Dig Through Time can find a certain card to get the job done here, though. And that would be Ugin, but Dig Through Time not going to resolve thanks to Disdainful Stroke.
Perilous Vault as well, but that's a little on the slow side here.
Yeah.
And Solache without 9 mana to do everything in one shot.
The gate was the draw step to go along with Pearl Lake and Crux of Fate. Just a passing of the turn here for Angel. We'll head back Jason's way. Jason on tap, draws a copy of Llanowar Waste here momentarily. And now the top card here, Hero's Downfall. There is the Waste. And of course, trigger the Courser. Jason with a lot of life here too. These players really settling into the late game.
Yep. I mean, this feels like the kind of the game that comes down to either someone getting decked or someone being completely overpowered.
Whip of Erebos activation. There's Tassiger. There's an attack. It's an attack for 11. Pearl Ancient may have something to say about this, though. Hoping that he gets the opportunity to block is Angel. But
Yeah, this is not a bad spot as a tempo play here for Jason. Because the cost for Solache to return 3 lands to his hand right now is extremely high.
Absolutely. It's a Murderous Cut that's going to be cast before blockers.
Attention players, if you would like to sign up
Make sure that
for
Pearl
two-headed
Ancient can't do any
giant
blocking.
steel today, we're taking sign-ups. That's two-headed giant sealed at 2 o'clock. We're taking signups right now over here at the side event stage.
Even picking up 3 lands still allows Angel the opportunity to play 5th land and Crux of Fate next turn if he wants to.
Which is okay.
But, you know, the damage he's taking here is adding up.
And the tough thing here is his best draw right now, you know, might be something like Ugin. Not even though he's a mana short. Now he's 4 mana short of doing that. So that draw's basically out the window. Ugin's the type of card that can turn this game around, but no longer. So a bunch of damage comes through. 3 lands are picked up. There goes Tassiger for good. Jason Ingenuity to the draw. Not the right time for that.
Yeah, there just might not be enough time for that kind of effect here.
Take a look at the graveyard there. Well, Angel. See exactly what Jason can bring back, but it's the creatures that are in play that he can actually start returning. Once they do bite the dust here, presumably from Crux of Fate. Those creatures will bite the dust.
And keep in mind, you know, Angel now 2 turns away from casting Pearl Lake. And Hero's Downfall, a draw here for Jason, which means that he still has the same tempo play that we saw last turn. Doesn't actually get it off the table permanently, but he doesn't need to keep it off the table permanently just for another turn or 2.
Jason's going to start reaching for some mana. I have to imagine we're going to have Whip of Erebos activation here in some capacity. It's too hard to pass that up. Doomweight Giant is the weapon of choice. In for 4. Solache is down to 2. We'll see if anything comes post-combat.
Looks like a handful of just Hornet Queen, another Whip, and Hero's Downfall.
Okay. Dismal backward of the draw. That'll bring Angel up to 3. Now passing the turn. Temple of Mystery, the draw. That'll come down rather quickly. Little scry action here from Miller. Top card becomes the bottom one.
And I think that Angel has no defense over something coming back through Whip of Erebos right now.
I think what the Dismal Backwater is kind of a funny draw because I think the best that Jason can return is a 2-power creature.
I thought that I saw Sidisi on the bottom of his graveyard.
It's on the top of it now, so you are correct. So that's going to trigger. There's a creature. So a 2/2 zombie will be coming. That's more ammo, of course, for Whip as well. So there's a zombie token. We're heading into the attack step now, Sidisi. We'll get the job done. Jason Miller is going to win game number 2 here over Angel Solache. Sultai Reanimator and Blue Light Control headed to a 3rd one. Nothing quick about this matchup.
No, you know, the Sultai Reanimator deck gains a lot of life through Whip of Erebos. The Blue-Black Control deck is not breaking any land speed records here as well. And so, not uncommon when this matchup goes to game number 3, that time becomes a real concern.
We'll take a look at the sideboards here very quickly. Solache will be on the play here for game number 3. You see him sideboarding very quickly. He's got a Disdainful Stroke, a Negate, a Liliana Vest, 2 Tassigers, a Solemgar the Drifting Death. He's already got one of those in his main deck, the additional one in the sideboard. An Ashiok, 3 Drowned in Sorrows, 3 Jurbai Merc Lurker, and then 2 copies of Farika's Cure. I think Ashiok's the easiest place to start.
Planeswalkers are so powerful against Sultai Reanimator, particularly Ashiok, which can come down very quickly. Hard for Sultai Reanimator to get to in time. Other pieces of spot removal are very nice.
Jason's side of things?
2 Reclamation Sage, 2 Sultai Charm, 2 Ashiok, 4 copies of Thoughtseize, 2 Despise, 2 Disdainful Stroke, and a Bioblade. I like the 2 Disdainful Strokes. You saw him be very good in that game. 2 copies of Ashiok of his own, pretty solid, and the 4 Thoughtseizes.
Game number 3 going to be underway here shortly. We talked about the Players' Championship. We talked about Jim Davis, Joe Lissette trying to kind of clinch their berth of that thing again as they played in it last year. But we're talking about the Players' Championship in 2014. 2015, we're going to be doing it again in Roanoke. Brad Nelson, the first player qualified.
The defending champ, and he will be back to defend his crown in 2015 as well.
I'm looking forward to that. He actually got the job done with Sultai Reanimator while we were there, so ironic to actually see that right now on camera. But congratulations to Brad, of course, for winning the first Players' Championship. There were 16 fantastic players for that tournament. There will be 16 at this one, too, and Brad will be one of them. And If things go Jim Davis's way this weekend, he'll be the other one.
Who are the players that Brad is crowding out in that photo?
Great question. Great question. Bunch of no-name nobodies. Get out of here. This is Brad Nelson's picture. Here's an Elvish Mystic. No one does a yelling face or like an intense screaming face better than Brad. No one.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's the best at it. The face of intensity, Mr. Intensity. Maybe that's what we should call him. Or maybe we should. Your call.
I don't like the nickname Mr. Anything.
Oh,
it's just
really?
a pretty big cop out.
Is there any reason for this? I feel like you have some strong feelings.
It's just a cop out. That's all.
So, Mr. October. You don't like that one?
I mean, it's cool for historical reasons, but it's not a particularly inspired nickname.
Okay. Pluto Delta can be sacrificed here by Jason Miller. There has to be like a good Mr. nickname out there.
I don't think so.
Twitter. We got to prove Patrick wrong. You're feisty already, early.
You really go to that Twitter well quite a bit.
Well, there are a bunch of people watching, and I'm not great at just on-the-spot thinking.
Sure.
Here's an attack with Elvish Mystic. Angel going to draw a card. As long as he's got lands to play, he's got to be happy with how things have started here. He's not underneath really any pressure.
Yeah, as long as nothing too crazy goes on with Jason's graveyard, he's got to just resolve big creatures, some of which aren't even particularly good, like Doomweight Giant. And that's a strategy Blue-Black Control is well suited to fight. Time is the issue at this point.
Yeah, we're underneath 3 minutes here. Blue-Black Control not very fast at winning. Neither one of these players want to draw this early, that's for sure. There's a Radiant Fountain going to gain 2 life. You do see that Angel does have Ugin in hand. That's what he's working towards. There's a Forest. This is 3 mana. Courser of Krufix. And Dissolve will take care of that. Little scry action. Top card comes to the bottom there for Angel. An attack for 1. Angel doesn't mind that too much. Underneath 2 minutes, take a draw, dig through time. Just gonna pass the turn back. Miller will draw.
Players, time is up. Active player, please finish your turn. And both players take a total of 5 additional turns.
Opulent Palace to land.
And now because of these time considerations, I think that a lot of Angel's win conditions are probably not viable anymore.
Here's a Dissolve on Tasigur. Yeah, one of the things about Blue-Black Control is, it's a pretty good deck, pretty well positioned, I think, in this metagame, but it does take a little while to win, especially in a matchup like this.
Yep.
And it's turn 1. We're going to turn 2 now. So our clock a little off. Apologies for that. Most of the time when players do move in the feature match area, they have an extension, but these guys, right from the start, we're good to go. So here's Sidisi. And the likelihood of either one of these players winning is very slim, so I think we're moving to draw territory here.
Yeah, I don't think that Jason can do it now. He gets turn 4 to attack with this board, but...
And Angel certainly can't. Jason Ingenuity will be cast. Players will play out their last couple of turns. Hero's Downfall among the cards drawn there for Solache. Dismal Backwater as well. That'll allow Angel to gain a life. Hard to say who would win this one given enough time. The Ugin is certainly compelling. There are actually 2 copies in Angel's hand. That's the kind of card that gets the job done against this also Reanimator deck all by itself.
Although, Jason does have Disdainful Strokes and Thought Seizes in his sideboard, so no guarantee that it resolves, but it is quite potent against Sultai Reanimator.
And Disdainful Stroke was actually the draw step this turn. And there is Whip of Erebos. That would resolve. That would certainly change things if this were to play out as well. Whip of Erebos, probably the best card in Jason's deck against Blue-Black Control.
I think you definitely saw it on display in Game 2 how good it was. I mean, it was the whole game, but now if these Blue-Black Control lists start moving to Ugin, I'm less convinced.
Fair.
Because it's just another thing that gets swept away.
Sure. There's an attack for 3. Solache going to go down to 16. He'll have turn number 5 of this game. It'll be the last one. Does have a copy of Slumgar in hand, also Ugin, Dig Through Time. actually tough to say who would win this game with enough time.
Yeah, no, it's still, you know, both players with a ton of cards in their hand, ton of resources, high life total. Very hard to say.
There's really not a great way to speed things up in the matchup either. I don't think either deck can really change things to say, you know what, I'm going to try to speed up. I think that both decks are just inherently slow decks.
The best thing that you can do is just try to cap out on Ashiok's.